Everyone remembers the big sci-fi winners of the 2000s. American Gods, the Yiddish Policeman's Union, Spin. But what about the brilliant, weird, and unforgettable novels that somehow got no love? From the Hugo, the Locus, the Nebula Awards, those other sci-fi genre-specific pieces of hardware. Today, I'm unearthing the very best science fiction of the 2000s that award committees and voters completely overlooked, snubbed. And trust me, you're going to find some surprises here. Welcome to Fantasy for the Ages, the show where a father and son talk about fantasy, science fiction, horror, and other nerdy things we enjoy. I'm Jim, the father of this channel, flying solo with you today as I continue through this series, highlighting the best science fiction novels of each year that were totally passed over by those handing out those fancy schmancy awards, not even giving nominations to these incredible books that tons of people enjoyed. If this is your first time here, I hope you'll join with everyone else and hit that like button. But also push subscribe and hit that notification bell so that as we continue to drop other content, you'll know. I've got something coming out just about every day. And of course, big thank you right now to our Patreon supporters. You guys really help with your financial support each month to keep this stuff coming along. If you'd like to join our little Patreon community, check out the link down in our show notes. So this is the 5th episode in our series on the best sci-fi novels overlooked by awards. We've already covered the 1960s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. Today, the 2000s, a decade packed with incredible genre-defining science fiction. But here's the twist. I'm not talking about award winners. As I said earlier, these are the ones that were snubbed. Not even a nomination from these people highlighting what they claimed were the best science fiction novels of the year. Now, I'm not saying those that got nominations or wins weren't worthy. They certainly were. But so were these. These are the almost theirs that really shows how subjective these awards are, because these are great books. How do I know? Well, I dug into the data. I'm familiar with some of these, but I have not read most of them. Instead, I looked at the actual sales numbers. How many people actually bought these books? And what did reviewers say, both critics and fans? And then I checked out Goodreads, Storygraph, Amazon to see what are the fan ratings. And wow, these books are beloved by the science fiction reading community, just not those people giving out the trophies. So I do think these are books that should be on any sci-fi reader's radar. Let's dive in. For 2000, the runner-up of the year is Under the Skin by Michael Faber. This is first contact, alien infiltration science fiction, and definitely has tinges of horror. An alien disguised as a human cruises around rural Scotland picking up male hitchhikers, drugging them, then selling them off as food for her home planet. Her identity is surgically refined into human form, bringing her constant physical and existential discomfort. This is not what she's used to. It's eerie, unsettling, and uses quiet horror to illuminate how alien morality and human helplessness can twist the familiar into something monstrous. This novel was adapted to a 2013 film with Scarlett Johansson, one of her early movie appearances. Unfortunately, it was a box office flop. The best science fiction of the year 2000 goes to Venus by Ben Bova. This is hard science fiction, a planetary adventure story, and is actually book 18 of the considerable Grand Tour series. A ruthless magnet offers a fortune to anyone who can recover his lost son's remains from the hell world of Venus. Two rival expeditions launch into storm-shredded skies to claim the prize. What starts as a perilous retrieval becomes a showdown of ego, grit, and survival against corrosive clouds and crushing pressures. Bova serves classic science problems meeting human problems with page-turning propulsion. Continuing on to 2001, our runner up for the year is Reunion, book 19 of the Human X Commonwealth series by Alan Dean Foster. This is space opera and adventure sci-fi tale. Back in the Human X Commonwealth, empath Flinks chases a stolen file that may finally crack the mystery of his origins straight into Anne territory and a lethal desert world. What follows is a survival trek, a brown dwarf rendezvous, and a brush with terrifying ancient tech that complicates every answer he finds. It's fast, pulpy, and crowd pleasing flinks. Big creatures, bigger secrets, and the kind of rocket fuel pacing that puts pages in the rear view. But the best novel in science fiction of 2001 to get overlooked for award nominations is The Octagonal Raven by L.E. Modisette Jr. Techno thriller sci fi with elements of nanotech and media power. Darren Alwyn, a genetically pre-select heir who walked away from his family's media empire, survives an assassination attempt and uncovers a plague targeting the enhanced elite. The deeper he digs, the more the trail points to octagonal, non-human nanites, plus a conspiracy to lock down information itself. Think boardroom knife fights with orbital stakes, quiet competence, hard questions about inequality, and a cool alien tech mystery clicking into place. For 2002, the runner-up sci-fi novel is Prey by Michael Crichton. This is a techno-thriller, near-future sci-fi with elements of nanotech and swarm AI. A Nevada lab accidentally unleashes a self-replicating cloud of predator nanobots that learns, evolves, and hunts fast. A down-on-his-luck software engineer gets pulled into the cover-up and discovers the swarm isn't just outthinking their containment plans. It's starting to out-people the people. Crichton turns systems theory and emergent behavior into a white-knuckle survival puzzle where every solution becomes the swarm's next upgrade. Best novel of 2002 goes to The Skies of Pern, 15th novel in one of my favorite series, The Dragon Riders of Pern by Anne McCaffrey. This is science fiction, planetary sci-fi, and a dragon rider saga. After a meteor strike devastates Pern, dragon riders must prove their value in a society that questions whether Thread will ever return. As Perny's culture wrestles with politics, prophecy, and survival, familiar characters confront both disaster and hope. McCaffrey delivers a reflective late-period Pern tale about change and resilience. For 2003, the runner-up for the year is Drowning World, book 21 of the Human X Commonwealth series by Alan Dean Foster. Again, planetary sci-fi, xenoecology themes, and adventure story. On the rain-soaked world of Fluva, human traders, local species, and corporate interests slip, slide, and scheme across a planet that never stops flooding. When a small crisis threatens to cascade into interspecies conflict, a mismatched group has to navigate politics, predators, and a hydrological nightmare to keep the peace. Foster mixes classic Commonwealth color with brisk set pieces and a you can almost smell the mildew sense of place. Best novel for 2003 goes to The Ethos Effect, a sequel to The Parafaith War by L.E. Modisette Jr. This is military, space opera, political sci-fi. A disgraced officer is recruited into a shadowy intelligence apparatus and handed a near impossible brief: stop a spiral of interstellar crusades without becoming the monster he's fighting. The job demands espionage, ethics, and exquisitely calibrated force, plus a talent for surviving battles fought in boardrooms as much as in vacuum. Modisette keeps the pages turning while asking hard questions about means, ends, and the greater good. Continuing to 2004, our runner-up goes to Coyote Rising, book 2 of the Coyote trilogy by Alan M. Steele. This is colonization science fiction a planetary adventure story, and has revolution themes. The hard-won freedom of the Coyote colony is tested when Earth's regime arrives to reintegrate the settlers. Guerrilla struggle, survival treks, and scrappy ingenuity push the dream of independence to a breaking point. Steel doubles down on frontier grit and big canvas politics without losing the human heartbeat. Best sci-fi novel of 2004 to not get any nominations goes to 1634, The Galileo Affair, Book 6 of the expansive 1632 Ring of Fire universe, which includes 79 total works, all of them by Eric Flint, but co-authored by many different people. This one co-authored by Andrew Dennis. An alternate history science fiction story, a time-displaced techno-thriller. Grantville's uptimers dispatch a diplomatic mission to Venice, just as church politics, Galileo's fate, and revolutionary ideas collide. Street fights, court intrigue, and printing press skullduggery turn first principles into live ammunition. It's a brisk, idea-forward what if that treats civic institutions and science as adventure fuel. And much of that didn't make any sense if you haven't read this series. But you get the idea, there's a lot going on. For 2005, the runner-up is Into the Looking Glass, book 1 of the Looking Glass Quartet by John Ringo. Military science fiction, alien invasion, and a techno-thriller. A catastrophic physics experiment in Florida tears open gateways to alternate universes, and suddenly Earth is facing everything from rampaging aliens to world-shattering weapons slipping through the rifts. As chaos escalates, a brilliant but reluctant physicist teams with the US military to contain the breaches, only to realize the looking glasses are multiplying faster than they can be closed. Ringo delivers pulpy, page-turning mayhem that mixes hard science speculation with shoot-'em-up alien warfare. Sounds terrific. The best novel of the year goes to Remains by Mark W. Tiedemann. This is near-future sci-fi, a biopunk thriller. In a world recovering from plague and biotech collapse, a woman with experimental implants becomes the focus of competing corporate and government agendas. Her survival becomes a struggle not just against those who want her body, but against the unraveling of her identity. Tiedemann fuses noir grit and biopunk paranoia. For 2006, the runner-up is Crystal Rain, book 1 of the Xeno-Wealth Quartet by Tobias S. Buckle. This is Caribbean-flavored space opera and planetary science fiction on the isolated colony world of Nadagata. Just fun to say that, Nadagata. John de Bruyne, an amnesiac fisherman with a mysterious past, becomes the key figure in a looming war between human settlers and alien invaders. Drawing on Caribbean culture and mythology, Buckle delivers both fresh perspective and high-octane storytelling. It's a vibrant, fast-moving debut that mashes post-colonial themes with classic planetary adventure. Best sci-fi novel of 2006, with no nominations, is Empire, book 1 of the Empire duology by Orson Scott Card. This is near-future political military sci-fi. In a dangerously polarized America, a terrorist attack sparks a modern civil war, with factions using advanced weapons and AI-driven tactics. A small team of military strategists and programmers races to prevent total collapse. Card blends near-future speculation with thriller pacing, drawing heavily on politics of the early 2000s that doesn't sound so far off from today. For 2007, the runner-up is Hunter's Run, a collaboration of authors George R.R. Martin, Gardner Dozois, and Daniel Abraham. Planetary science fiction and a survival thriller. On a mining colony, the violent and reckless Ramon Espejo flees into the wilderness, where he encounters something alien that reshapes his life and possibly humanity's future. Pursued by enemies, both human and not, his fight for survival turns into a confrontation with identity and morality. It's gritty, fast-paced science fiction from a powerhouse collaboration. But the best of the year here is a book high on my TBR, Plague Year by Jeff Carlson, book one of the Plague Year trilogy. This is post-apocalyptic sci-fi, I love that genre, and is a bio-thriller. A nanotech plague devours all warm-blooded life below 10,000 feet. I mean, wow, devastation. This drives the survivors into mountain refuges where starvation and conflict set in. When a desperate researcher uncovers hints of a cure, factions clash to control humanity's last chance. Carlson fuses propulsive pacing with a chilling, plausible apocalypse. Continuing to 2008, the runner-up of the year is The Temporal Void, book two of the Void trilogy, set in the same universe as the Commonwealth saga by Peter F. Hamilton. Glenn, you're welcome again. This is space opera style. In the center of the galaxy, a mysterious void threatens to expand and devour stars while factions battle to control its secrets. Inside, dream realms shape reality itself, leading to mythic quests that echo across space. Hamilton blends big idea physics with sprawling characters in classic doorstopper style. This guy's a sci-fi genius. But the best novel of 2008 goes to The January Dancer, book one of the Spiral Arm Quartet by Michael Flynn. Again, space opera style, a far future tale. A crew of smugglers stumble upon a mysterious alien artifact that shifts power among human factions across the Spiral Arm. Retold as legend by an unreliable narrator, the story weaves politics, adventure, and myth into one. Flynn crafts a sweeping lyrical space opera that deserved more attention than it got. For our final year of the 2000s, 2009, the runner-up is The Unincorporated Man, book one of the Unincorporated Man Quartet by Danny and Eitan Collin. This is near-future socioeconomic sci-fi and a libertarian dystopia. In a future where every person is literally incorporated and must buy back shares in themselves, a cryogenically revived businessman from the 21st century balks at this system. His resistance sparks legal, social, and political turmoil across a society that sees corporate ownership as natural. How scary is that? The Coen brothers use courtroom drama and political intrigue to explore autonomy, economics, and freedom. But the best of 2009 goes to Consorts of Heaven, book two of the Hidden Empire Quintet by Jane Fenn. This is planetary science fiction and alien contact. On a backward world ruled by superstition, a prophet is tormented by visions of starfarers who seem like gods. When off-worlders arrive for real, prophecy collides with politics, and one woman must decide whether salvation or conquest lies ahead. Fenn blends old-school planetary adventure with modern themes of power and belief. And that wraps up the 2000s. Another decade of amazing science fiction. Brilliant novels that somehow never got the recognition they deserved from those awards. Which of these have you read? Which ones are now going on your TBR? And which overlooked gems do you think I missed? Let me know in the comments. I love hearing your takes, and I do try to respond to every one of them. As always, a huge thank you to our Patreon supporters. You do help keep this channel going, and we're so grateful for that support. Check out how to join us on Patreon down in the show notes, and look down there for all the other ways you can get in touch with my son Zach and I. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you next time.